You're listening to the SEO Mindset podcast. Now, we are not your typical how to do SEO podcast. No, we are not. With the help of our guests, we cover those all-important topics around career development, personal growth, and mental health for those working in the SEO industry. You got to be working on your own internal algorithm. Like what we did there. So if you like the sound of our podcast and you think this is a bit of me, shall we crack on with this week's episode? What do you think is one of the top skills employers are looking for in 2026? Just so happens that I can tell you. According to a study, 69% of those asked said analytical thinking is a top skill that they're looking out for. A link to that study is in our show notes. Now, what do you think about that? This week on the SEO Mindset podcast, me and Tazmin discuss what analytical thinking actually is. So we break it down into the core components, the core elements. We also give real examples of how analytical thinking relates to SEO. And please make sure to stick around to the end as we give you lots of practical ways that you can improve your analytical thinking, but also, because this is important, but also looking after your mental health and well-being, because you can't work on your analytical thinking without looking after yourself. We are humans at the end of the day. We are not AI. I'm definitely not AI. Anyway, cheeky ask before I play the episode. If you enjoy this podcast, make sure that you're subscribing for free wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you haven't yet, why not give us a 5-star review? This helps the algorithm. And of course, we don't need to be telling you this because it's your bag, but it's going to help our visibility in the platforms as well. Right. Without further ado, shall we crack on? It's me, Sarah.
And it's Tazmin here.
So, Tazmin. Did you know that a survey, and I'm going to link in the show notes to the survey, but did you know that there was a survey conducted last year to basically find out what skills employers are finding critical, like really, really important? And did you know that 69% said analytical thinking?
I mean, I think I know the survey you're talking about. I didn't know it was as high as 69%, but it doesn't take me by surprise.
Well, so just to give our listeners some context around analytical thinking. So basically, what it sort of encompasses is employees being able to navigate complex decisions and using data to help them, basically. So in this report as well, or other research that I've linked in the show notes, there's sort of 4 areas that this skill sort of encompasses. And we're talking about breaking down complex problems into smaller, manageable components. Number 2 is making data-informed decisions in uncertain environments. Now that's very interesting because there's a lot of uncertainty right now. So of course this makes sense. Number 3 is identifying patterns and trends in large data sets. Now, if something has been very, very relatable to SEO, then I don't know what is, because we're always working with large data sets. And number 4 is applying critical thinking to strategic challenges. So those are the sort of elements of analytical thinking. And basically employers are wanting it. 69% are saying this is key. So you've already said that it doesn't surprise you. Why does it not surprise you?
Because we don't live in a world where a lot of our day is same old, same old. Things are changing so fast. The challenges that we are having to overcome are complex. So if you're not able to think analytically, it's what are you going to do? I don't think it's the only thing that you need to apply when solving a problem, but we have so much data, sometimes too much data, and that's another question and another topic. But you need something to try and untangle it all. We have the data, so you look at it and you need to figure out how best to use that data to answer the question. There's no point pulling the data and then asking someone else, oh, what should I do with this? We're not in that place
Yes.
anymore.
Yes, because it's really easy to get the data nowadays, isn't it? So you need to be able to understand it yourself, basically, don't you? And like you said, there is going to be other skills, and we're not saying that this is the only skill that you need to have. So if you get your analytical thinking done, you're going to be fine. But yeah, this was just one of the top things that employers were talking about. And I've got some examples of sort of SEO scenarios to help our listeners sort of really visualize and relate. So an example of breaking down complex problems into manageable components. So you might have a client, or when you're doing like your monthly report or whatever reporting, you might find, crikey, traffic to the website has dropped 40%. What's happened? What's going on? So that is a complex problem that you're going to have to break down into manageable components. So why, like, you got to basically find out why website traffic has dropped 40%, yeah? And rather than just taking that whole big problem, you need to sort of break it down into the manageable chunks of looking at it so you can come to a solution. An SEO example for making data-informed decisions in uncertain environments. I'm sorry, I'm going to talk about AI. I'm sorry, the AI is, yeah, there's the AI. What am I thinking? You know, when you swear jar, we need an AI jar every time.
Oh, that's going to be overflowing, but not from us.
But making data informed decisions in certain environments could be you identify, or someone in your team or your client identifies that they're ranking number one in like an AI overview, an AI SERP or whatever. How do you follow suit? Should you follow suit? Should you do the same? So again, it's sort of using data to make decisions in an uncertain environment sort of thing. If you know that they're using AI as well to generate and help them generate content, is that right for you? The identifying patterns and trends in large data sets. Let's say you've got 12 months of data from Google Search Console to look at. That's a lot of data. And you got to find patterns, you got to find trends, because you need to be able to tell a story to the client. You need to understand what that data means, so then you can figure out a content plan or a strategy, or what you need to do to the website to increase the traffic and the conversions. And then the applying critical thinking to strategic challenges. An example here could be your in talks with the finance team, and they're like, okay, reviewing everything that you said that you want to achieve in 2026. We've only got budget to sort of put behind one initiative or one campaign or one idea that you've put forward. So you're going to have to like decide what you want to do. So it's either going to be that technical SEO overhaul that you want to do, or the content expansion sort of thing. So those are some of the idea, like some examples of where analytical thinking and the key concepts and skills that we've pulled out can relate to SEO. So what are your thoughts?
I've been scribbling away. I'm like Mel Robbins today with my pencil and my notepad. So you've given this stat: 69% of employers are saying analytical thinking is one of the key skills that they're looking for. All sorts of reasons, and you've given some great examples. My question is, what are these said employers going to do to create an environment that enables that analytical thinking? Because
Okay.
if one of them once was, you talked about complex problems and breaking it down into smaller solutions. Now,
Yes.
the chances are this is a new complex problem.
Yeah.
No playbook on it, no one to be able to go and ask, don't know what to do here. So you're just going to have to go and give it a go. And if you're giving it a go and it's complex and nobody's done it before, the chances are you're going to make some mistakes. Is that employer going to look favorably on it, on those mistakes or not? Because what I'm seeing and what I'm getting a little bit cross about
Oh, Tasman's
is
getting a bit cross.
not about you and not about this topic. Over the last few years, there seems to be this acceptance that when you're working, you're going to be under stress, you're going to be under pressure. Yes, you might burn out, and then they'll try and fix you rather than helping you not get burnt out in the first place. And when I say they, it's a very big umbrella. They, imagine it's big. And when I hear people talking about being in these situations where they've got to learn all of these new skills and how to be analytical and all the rest of it, and they'll send you on a course. Here's a course on how to become more analytical, or oh, you're stressed. All right, let's fix you. Whereas what I feel strongly that people should be taught from very early on is how to manage their emotions. All of these things, complex problems, data-informed decisions, pattern and trends, all of this storytelling, you're going to be able to do it better when you're calm,
Yeah.
when you feel trusted, and you feel that you can trust your manager, whoever, when you're given some space, when you're not being micromanaged. Can you imagine having to work out, how am I going to tell this story about why the data is not what they think it was, and you get your constant Slack messages. You done that? Are you done? Are you done? Are you done? So yes, I agree with the need for it. And yes, I can see where the application is important, but there's another side to it. There's the side about how to set up that environment where an individual feels that, you know what, brand new, I've never done it before. Instead of getting really upset, really anxious, getting overwhelmed, it's okay. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, because you feel that you can manage your emotions. And the report, if it's the same report I'm thinking of, every single thing that they want from employees is going to be so much easier with a person who can manage their emotions.
Yes, it's very true, isn't it? Because you can't, and this feeds back to what you said from the start, that like it's not the only skill, and there's going to be overlap of skills that we need. And of course, like you can't have analytical thinking without people being able to stay calm and measured in when they're doing their analytical thinking, or they're coming across a problem that they're trying to fix, or they're trying to find a solution, or they're even just trying to find a reason. And it's not just on the employee themselves, but of course, like the place that they're working at, needs to be able to facilitate that. Or I'm just thinking if you've got your own business or you're freelance as well, it's about having a relationship with your clients where you can have these honest conversations, isn't it? And being able to be transparent with them, because the best work and the best results and the best campaigns come out of relationships where there is trust and there's respect and there's a space to be able to make a mistake or try something or just have the breathing space, right? And not be micromanaged.
I think in that example, that makes the onus on the freelancer or the business owner that much more. So in an organization, if you've been employed for a role where this analytical thinking is important, not only should you be helped to learn how to manage your emotions, the person managing you should also already know how to manage their emotions. Their emotions, not
Yes.
yours, of course. That'd be weird. Because if they are able to, then they too can stay calm and give that individual space to solve the problem, to have a go at it. So there is an overall responsibility. If you're a freelancer yourself, and yes, it's, have good relationships with your clients, but you may think that marketing your services, delivering your services, looking after the finances are all important parts of your role, and absolutely they are. But managing your own emotions, managing your physical health, your mental health, all of that is going to help you with analytical thinking, with creativity, with resilience. Where does resilience come from? You don't just open a box and take it out. Resilience is built on what energy levels you have. Where does confidence come from? Confidence comes from how much energy you have. And this almost like some people are talking about it, but not a lot of people, and not enough. Because everything that you want to build has to come from a base of energy. So
it's very true. Very, very true. And also what comes to my brain as well is with like resilience, you're not just going to have that overnight, are you? You need to learn how to build resilience. You need to have those moments when you first get rocked or something doesn't go to plan, because you need to build resilience. You can't just, like, it's unreasonable to think the first bit of conflict or resistance or whatever that you're getting, like, you're going to be able to deal with it, and you should be able to deal with it. No, we're humans. Like, we're not AI, we're not robots. We have emotions, and we need to give ourselves time and space to feel those emotions and build up resilience like an elastic band, right? So very true. Right, Tazmin.
Yes.
This has been a very good discussion already in part one. So the main takeaway is, I think what we're saying is, yes, we understand that employers are looking for analytical thinking, but you can't have analytical thinking without the sort of emotional intelligence, really, isn't it? And like working with humans and thinking humans. We're not AI at the end of the day. Yeah. So we're going to take a short break now. And when we come back, I'm going to talk about how we can enhance our analytical skills. So just putting the human to the side, because we know it's important. But yes, when we come back for part two, we'll be looking at ways that we can work on our analytical skills. All right, join us back, folks.
Hi, Tazmin here. Are you looking to take your career to the next level? Be more visible, earn more, but also take care of your well-being and have work-life harmony? Well, I can help you because I'm offering you a free 30-minute consultancy call. Together we can go through where you want to be and how to get there. Simply click on the link in the show notes, fill in a form, and I'll get back to you.
It's your pal Sarah here, just popping on to let you know how you can support the podcast. For the same price as a Starbucks, Costa, or your favourite local coffee shop coffee, you can give us a one-off tip or a monthly donation. All you got to do is follow the link in the show notes. And also, have you subscribed to the podcast? If not, why the heck not? If you do subscribe, you receive notifications whenever a new episode is available and ready to listen to. And while you're there, why not leave us a cheeky 5-star review or rating?
Tazmin, are you still with us?
I am indeed.
Indeed. Okay, so reflecting on what we spoke about in the first part and how we said you can't have analytical thinking without looking after yourself, without thinking humans. So I reckon what we should do, because I did say we'd put that to the side, but that's not the SEO Mindset podcast, is it? That kind of goes against why we exist in the first place. So what I am propositioning to you, Tazmin, is that I will run through a analytical skill, and then you can enhance and tell us how we can be also, for that element, be looking after ourselves.
Maybe go through all of them because I don't want to be, a lot of what I'll end up saying is repeating each one. So maybe you go through all 4 and at the end, I'll give some tips.
You'll give your nugget of wisdom.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to stop me as I'm going through, because there might be something specific. You don't know.
All right.
We don't know where this conversation is going to go, Tazmin. How exciting. Right. Okay. So, if you remember back to part 1, the first element of analytical thinking is breaking down complex problems into manageable chunks, manageable components that we can better deal with. So, my suggestion here is keep asking why. I love this. And I use this tactic quite a lot. So where you ask yourself a question, why has this certain thing happened? You answer it and then you ask why again. And the idea is that you keep asking yourself why until you get to the bottom, or until you kind of have a thesis or a theory of what's going on. So for example, with the website traffic, it could be like, why has this happened? Well, we recently had a site migration. Okay, why did the site migration lose traffic? And you could be like, well, looking at some of the URLs and we didn't handle them all correctly. Okay, what do you know what I mean? So you keep going on why until you come to like the crux, the core, like what's going on in that with that specific problem. So then something that looks really big and like, crikey, all website traffic is going down, how do we deal? Like, you take something that's very overwhelming, you keep asking why until you can nail it to a specific point. Yeah, so obviously that's going to take time, and you need to give yourself time to look at each part of the problem. Don't rush. And if anyone's trying to rush you, like, ask them for breathing space. So it's all about looking at the problem, asking yourself why, because then once you've got to the crux, once you've got to the core, you can prioritize and be like, okay, this is my thesis, this is what I think has happened, and I'm going to prioritize doing this to fix it.
I have a nugget.
Already? That was my first one.
Well, you're talking about here is a problem, and I have to figure out why it happened. And your solution for that, your recommendation is spot on. What if your complex thing is go and build this thing? So you're not solving a problem, but you're building something. And whenever I have to build something, whether it's a solution or a workshop or whatever, I'm old school. I'm whiteboard and post-it notes. So just don't, supposing you started saying, oh, I'm going to need, can I give a non-technical
Of
example
course,
here?
of
Okay.
course, go for it.
I really want to write a book, and it's going to be a non-fiction book, and it's going to be about energy. And I thought, okay, I don't, when people have a non-fiction book, they don't want 300 pages to go through. They've hit a problem. They need to fix that problem with whatever it is. They just want to get to the solution. So I thought, okay, I'll just have 52 ways you can increase your energy, and it would just be one chapter for each thing. So I started writing down, this is one example, this is another example, and I started sticking it down. And then I realized, oh, and this goes on to your pattern recognition thing. There's all these tips on how to get better at being you energy wise. And then there's a bunch on relationships. And I started moving them around. So when it's a complex, huge thing that you have to build, don't try and make it perfect. Just write down what you think of at that time and get it down somewhere. Take it out of your head. Your head's not there to store information, it's there to be creative. So get the stuff out of your head so it gives it space to be creative.
Nice, I like it. And I can't wait for your book to be available in your closest bookstore.
You heard
I
it
think you
here
should write a book.
first, everyone. If anyone wants me to write this, I was going to say phone in.
Phone in, guys. Right, number 2,
Uh-huh.
making data-informed decisions in uncertain environments. There's a lot of uncertainty right now, and the uncertainty just keeps on coming. So, how we can improve our analytical thinking here is start with a hypothesis. I don't know why I decided to sound like that. I feel like the word hypothesis lends itself to that. But anyway, so when you've got an uncertain environment and you need to make a decision, like whether you need to do that for a client or yourself, your boss or whatever, like start somewhere. Start with a hypothesis. Start with an idea. And then you can update this hypothesis. You can update this idea when new data comes in and when new data is available. So when you start digging in a bit more and when you start research and looking around. Another thing that we can be doing in certain environments is before launching anything, imagine what could go wrong. Yeah. And to be fair, it doesn't all have to be doom and gloom. You could be like, what if it went right as well, to spin it, to spin it on the positive as well. But what I would really recommend doing is when there's uncertainty, put together reasons why it failed and reasons why it looked really good and it happened, because then that can help you visualize. It can help you make sure that you're planning for success, but also if things have failed, if you've already sort of like thought about that or had an idea about that in your head, hopefully it's not going to rock you as much because you're like, well, I've already thought about this. This isn't completely out of the blue. I have imagined this sort of thing. So a bit of visualization will help you. And again, when there's uncertainty, we need to sort of like set benchmarks, or set certain criteria. So with your hypothesis and as you're like implementing a fix, or when you're launching a strategy, or whatever you're doing, you can set yourself sort of like targets, can't you, or deadlines. I know some people don't like to use deadlines, so we like to use targets instead. But you can say, if traffic doesn't improve by X in X amount of days, I will do this instead. If conversions don't improve by X% in X days, this is what I'll do next. And then my last piece of advice for uncertainty is A/B tests. You don't know what you don't know. Yeah, so run different A/B tests, like figure stuff out, try different things. So, for example, if you're putting together pages or templates or landing pages or anything like that, you could have option A and option B and run A/B tests to see like what's going on. Like, you could, in the example of, you notice that your competitor is being cited in an AI overview, like, run a test, see what happens if you go after that. Does it help with traffic? Does it help with conversions, sort of thing? So yeah, so just to, because I overview that, because I realised that I said a lot of stuff there. Start with a hypothesis, update as data comes in. Imagine, visualize for success, visualize for failure, and then set thresholds, benchmarks, and A/B tests. Shall I continue on to number 3? Or have you got a nugget? Feel like you want to say a nugget?
Ask yourself, have I done anything similar to this? Have I experienced anything similar to this? So although it's, you're working through uncertainty, brand new thing, is there anything in your memory that's going to help you?
Oh, yes. Because there's going to be similarities. So even if you've not done this thing, or there's uncertainty, that you can draw a comparison, or you can draw from a similar experience, can't you?
Yeah.
Love it. Number 3, identifying patterns and trends in large data sets. Don't know why I said large like I did, but it was fun. Hope everyone enjoyed it. Right. So another bit of visualization, but this time data visualization. So when we've got large data sets, help your brain out and turn numbers and heavy data into something visual, charts, like things that your brain or you can see. Because once you visualize, put charts together, graphs, whatever it is, it will help you to identify trends more efficiently rather than looking at a lot of data. Make sure you have enough data as well. Like, I know this is counterintuitive in a way, because we're already talking about large data sets, but you kind of need to have these large data sets, because that's how you find where trends are. Seasonal trends, for example, like, are there types of year where you're more busy because of what people are up to? A big one is like, how does summer holidays affect you? How does Christmas affect you? How does Easter affect you? All of this sort of stuff. How does the winter affect you compared to the summer? So it just getting used to spending time with data and finding trends. And the biggest thing here is visualize, like, get it in some sort of way that you can visualize, graphs, whatever that may be, to help your brain.
And that's going to be really helpful when you need to then communicate that to somebody who may be not used to working with such large data sets. If you find a blip in the data, go back to the real world. Go into the news. What happened on that day?
Yes. Yeah. Because we're not immune. Businesses aren't immune to what's going on in the wider world, and there is so much going on in the wider world right now. But anyway, number 4, get my teeth in. Applying critical thinking to strategic challenges. Yeah, so this is where you need to come up with a strategic decision, like where you spend your budget, and you want to apply your critical thinking to it. So first things first, question assumptions. Like, for example, just because a client has come to you with something, or a boss or whoever it is has come to you, that you need to do this certain thing, first question it. Do we really need to do this thing? And we've said this a couple of times on the podcast. If I do spend time on this thing, what does that take me away from? Because it might be a challenge that actually, when you review and look at your current work or what you're doing, it doesn't make sense to drop everything and work on that thing, because what is the return of investment? So always question assumptions. Just because a client or just because a boss or someone in your team has asked you to do the thing doesn't mean you have to do it. Did you just put your hand up there, Tazmin? Or were you stretching?
I just stretched.
Oh, I thought you were
just moving. I feel like I have to get back into my box when
no, it just made me laugh, because I was like, you've never put your hand up before. Go ahead, Tazmin, whatever you want to say. So I've derailed myself, haven't I, here? Where am I? So yeah, assumptions. The other thing that you could do is question best practices as well. So like we're questioning assumptions, question best practice. So when someone from the business or your client or whoever says this is the best practice and we need to be doing this to fix the problem or whatever, always ask, best for who? What is the context? What is the context of this best practices? And then you've already alluded to this about looking back at previous. So where you said that, like, you might be able to relate a previous experience to a current one. You should do this when you're strategically coming up with decisions for challenges, because you need to find overlap and be like, okay, in the last initiatives and the last campaigns that we did, what worked and what didn't? What did you assume incorrectly? What did you just jump in head first, not really thinking about? And yeah, that's it on the strategic challenges. Please put your hand up.
Okay. Can I say so? You talked about challenging best practice, challenging full stop. If you think that something's not right, so years ago when I was in charge of the data frontline, we used to get Tesco magazine data from one source, and then Tesco said, not going to give it to you from that source, you're going to go from that source. And we had very little time to get all of the data feeds written. That was the time when the development manager decided he was going to use a new technology. And I said, no, not this time. We don't have time for all of this. Can we just use the technology we already understand? And that was not listened to, Sarah. Not listened to by those high and mighty forces that were in charge. They said, no, I'm going to use the new. And I said, okay, fine. Then I want thorough end-to-end testing. We worked in this office with lots of windows. We had like paper on each window because there was no space to actually put the test plan in. Everyone was getting annoyed at me except my boss. Turns out that when we did that testing, the cleansing process was taking too long, and we needed data in before the users got in the morning. It's the most important part of our data set was the Tesco. So then about 3 days before the old feed was going to be cut, we decided that we were going to go back to the old technology, start again, and then it worked. And I remember I was in a meeting when it was decided, and everyone then went out, and my manager was with me and said, Tazmin, you'd be within your rights to say, I told you so. You didn't. Let's just get this done. So don't be scared of challenging. And if you are not heard, don't be scared of then putting down things in place. Trust your gut.
Yeah, that's very true. And proven evidence for where you've tried to say something, like whether that's in a message or an email or something. Because a lot of stuff could be like he said, she said, they said sort of thing. So, yeah. Well, that brings me to the end of this week's episode. I suppose, Tazmin, my question to you before we wrap up, what is that one main takeaway that you're taking from our conversation?
For anyone who's, for everyone actually listening, it's true. Being able to think analytically is going to be more and more part of your world. Yeah, even if you're working in, I'm going to say food because I love food and I have people who work with food. The data is becoming more and more, and it has been for ages. It's not like it's a new thing. But don't forget that there are things that you can do to make yourself better at this that isn't getting more analytical. You can learn how to manage your emotions. You can learn, oh, actually, I'm stuck on this thing. I can't figure it out. Well, get unstuck. Get up from your chair, move around. 9 times out of 10, the minute you move off your chair, something will pop into your head and you'll sit back down again and you'll have figured out the next bit. Breathe, get out and get outdoors. All sorts of things you can do that's going to make your analytical skills better.
Yes, because again, we are humans. We are not robots. We are not AI. We need to look after ourselves. So we can't just think that pushing ourselves, putting pressure, all of this stuff on our bodies is never not going to have an impact. So it's very important. Right, Tazmin, before we wrap up, just a reminder that episodes go out every single Thursday. Come on, Tazmin, tease our audience members. I'm visualizing doing a live podcast. Tease our listeners about what we've got coming up on the podcast.
Well, we have an episode. So I reached out to a community that we are both part of and asked, what do you want us to talk about? And there was a particular person that was having a bit of a tough time with work. And the question was, what do you do when you need to pivot your career because your career has left you a little bit worse for wear? How do you navigate?
That's going to be a great conversation, and I don't know about our listeners, but I'm looking forward to that. So yes, and make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast for free, because whenever new episodes are available for you to listen to, you'll get notified. So there'll be a link in the show notes to do that as well. Anything else we want to ask our listeners to do, pretty please, Tazmin?
Yes, you can go onto our LinkedIn page and what's the word? Join?
Follow. You follow on LinkedIn, don't you? Follow us on LinkedIn.
Yes.
And how can they easily do that? They can go to
the show notes. Go to the show notes. Even if you don't want to, just go on the show notes. It's a treasure trove.
You don't know what you'll find.
Honestly.
Links galore. But yes, follow us on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's my favourite social media platform right now, if I'm completely honest. Right. That was a lot of noise. I do apologise to our listeners.
You're making some funny noises today, Sarah.
Oh, have I?
your hypothesis voice, your long voice.
Large.
That was it, large.
I'm just making sure that our content is engaging. Let's just wrap up. I've lost the plot. Take care of yourselves, and until next time.
Take care, everyone.